The August protest in Nigeria has been marred by gruesome acts of violence, from looting to vandalism and down to killings. Many are left questioning who took the peace which was initially attached to the protest. While they ask, the chaos still lingers on the pockets of violence here and there. And across the nation, people are asking what really is going on. In Kaduna, we see thousands of citizens waving the Russian flag, urging the military to seize power and topple the democracy. We seem now to have hit rock bottom, and the only way left at this moment is to go upwards. However, Nigerians must answer, as a people, some questions, like what has this exercise achieved so far? What needs to be done to set Nigeria back on the path of peace? That would usher us into what we're talking about in this discussion today. We're going to be talking about the path of peace following the End Bad Governance progress. With this, I bid you welcome to the beam where curiosity meets conversation, taking us a step further into the future we desire. I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and today I have two gentlemen who will shed new light on the issues at hand. First, I have with me Mr. Elvis Akwobi, a youth advocate and social developer who serves as the executive director of the Not Too Young to Lead initiative. Mr. Akwobi, you're welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right. Next, I have Barrister Chukwuma Ezeala, and he is a lawyer and social commentator who's very versed in governance and matters involving civil society organizations. Mr. Ezeala, you're welcome. Mr. Ezeala, are you with us? All right. Let's go back now to Mr. Akwobi. Let's start from learning. What have we learned from this exercise so far? That will be my first question.
I was thinking you asked me what have the government learned from this exercise so far. But since you asked me what have we learned...
The government is the people, don't forget. So what have we learned?
I think the government at the center, they know that there's a generation of young people they need to negotiate with, owing to the fact that we've been complacent for a very long time. When you don't give young people access to the tools they need to live their dreams, they will come for it. They will use their energy negatively, and that's what you're saying with this protest and all that. Despite I don't subscribe to destruction of properties and all that, but the government should know that we contracted governance to them, we entrusted our votes with them to, make policies for us, create an enabling environment. But you agree with me that a vast percentage of Nigeria would the way they were 10 months before this government came on board. 15 months after this government came on board. The weakness has been hardship and all that. But you can't, why there are those who contract governance with our vote, they are making votes to, buy private jets, increment. In the history of governance in Nigeria, this is the government that has the highest number of ministers. Let's not forget to that. There's a particular minister who's alleged that is involved in alleged fraud, whose report we are yet to get. So, as Nigerians, we are complaining that the tax we pay does not reflect what's on ground, and that's why you see young people on the street.
Okay, so again, like I said earlier on, following my introduction, we seem to have hit rock bottom. And for instance, it almost seemed like this is metamorphosing into something not very desirable. Let's go to what is happening in Kaduna, for instance. What do we see there, and how do we make sense of it in the sense of progress that we want to achieve with this protest? I mean, waving the flag of the Russian people and all that in a nation, in a democratically elected government. Well, I mean, how does that fare into what we want to achieve with the protest?
We are looking at achieving a government that does not that we affect and treat substance issues and not optics. A government that will make policies where young people can live their dreams, where people who don't have to, queue up at the immigration to get passports just to escape their country. A government where citizens will trust the people they contracted governance with, and a government where a young person who went through the 4 years of school gets a good result, does not need to know somebody before he or she gets a job that is due to him. A government where I wouldn't have to take flight.
Sorry, I need to butt in. The question is, how does the waving of a flag like that in Kaduna tie into this protest as we speak? I mean, they're demanding that that the military topples the democracy. How does it tie into what we're pushing for as a nation?
Okay, I didn't get that properly. Like the flag, the Russian flag we talked about,
Yes,
right? Because
exactly.
Eko was talking. Yes, for me, those people that did that, I think when you're not informed, you find out that you do things that are not appropriate. That's why I always say that it's time the National Orientation Agency sits up to equip citizens that on the need for not to get involved in issues like that. I can assure you that whoever raised up that flag didn't know the implication of raising such flags. And that's why we need the National Orientation Agency to engage citizens on the do's and don'ts as citizens. So for me, that flag that was being raised is inconsequential to this demand of young people, to this protest, and to what we are feeling as Nigerians today.
Okay, so let's take it a step further. Looking at all that has transpired, all that has played out, we know so much has gone negatively wrong. What are the things we can say have gone right? What can we say has played into the part of what the protesters want to achieve so far? Is there anything that really has played into that part of what needs to be achieved?
Not really, but for the we've not really achieved much. But for the very first time, we've seen people who felt that they would subscribe to hegemony running from pillar to post. There are cases where I saw something on the news that talked about subsidized bag of rice. They've been doing things, but like I said, government at the center should work on treating the substance and not optics. Make policies that are sustainable. Because I don't subscribe to it. I want to believe that the what the president talked about, which I feel is not enough. I want to believe that there will be room for change, but I can assure you, the next one, I'm not sure they'll be able to curtail it. In as much I still don't stand by those disrupting government property, but every government official should know that it's a trust. A vote were contracted with trust. That's why when I hear words on inspiring wealth from someone who my tax is paying, who by this I mean the Senate president, saying that he was alleged to have said that while people are protesting, he will be in his house eating. In a same climate, people like that shouldn't get close to leadership. Sorry to say, because if my tax pays you, you don't have the temerity to say such words. Because without followership, there will be no leader. If we're in a military regime, he won't get to that place. So for me, leaders that will contract governance would have votes. Stakeholders, they should be careful in words they use. Because without citizens, there will be no leader.
All right. Let me come to Barrister Izala, if you're there. I wanted to ask you from the beginning, like, what have we learned? I mean, from your own point of view, what have we learned as regards this election right now? What is like a takeaway right now as regards this protest that we have seen so far for this exercise?
It's simply that the people are talking. The people have been suffering. People are not happy. Citizens are not happy. There is hunger in the land. But above all, the government doesn't seem to be doing anything tangible to take care of what is happening. When you look at the whole thing, when Chief Obasanjo came in, it was like the economy was in shambles. And according to him, he started working. What is the effect? Jonathan came in, all of them came in, Buhari came in, and people said, oh, we're not happy with Jonathan, President Jonathan. They brought Buhari, only to find out that it was the worst of all these after the military. And this time around, the current president came in and said, please wait, I'm going to fix the economy. Wait, I'm going to fix the economy for 1 year. It's just a question of things, for the first time, things moving in an astronomical manner. If you say rise from 7,000 to 80,000 or from 18,000 to 80, whether you say it's from 20,000 to 80,000 in 1 year. So the citizens are supposed to feel very bad. And that is what you're seeing on the streets. Unfortunately, people that are feeding, those within the circle of the president that are feeding the president says, oh, it's PDP that is causing this, it's Labour Party that is P2B, is Atiku. The truth is, if the masses had seen that things are being done, even some of the people that were supporting the government are no longer happy with the government because not much has been. Yes, there are wonderful policies that seem to have taken place. You remove fuel subsidy, which is good in itself. You say removal of fuel subsidy in say is good, but where have you plowed the money? You send it to renovation of vice presidents as if Professor Shibade did not live in a house. You take it to renovation of Dodan Barracks, Lagos, renovation of this, and all this going to billions. You also send it to increments of salaries and allowances of National Assembly, of that of the executive. So you see that at the end, you may see that 100, 200 billion has gone into avoidable circumstances. Meanwhile, the students' loan, you said you're going to, how much have you plowed there? The universities, have you tried to do renovations in these areas? The CNG projects you came in with, is it working? How many buses have you been able to send throughout the states? So these are issues I had expected the president to say, oh, I am sorry. I am sorry that some areas where we are spending money we ought not to. Why would you want to go and start some new projects when people are clamoring that they want to eat? And it is now that you now want to say, oh, let me provide rice for 40,000. You didn't do this since the notice was given to you more than 30 days ago. You were given notice. You were served with notice with this. But it's just 3 days, 4 days to the expiration that you say, oh, you are providing rice at 40,000. Nobody has seen the rice. I don't know whether you have seen it, but I have not seen it. And many people that have said they have not seen it. But even if you are provided for rice, they are not much.
All right.
Talking about the
let me interrupt you just a bit. Looking at what has gone down,
yes.
How do you measure the success of this protest so far? What would you say is something tangible that has been really achieved, from this process? What would you say has really been achieved?
Oh, I will say that the protesters have achieved at least 50% of what they set out to achieve. And that is the fact that, one, the government now admits the fact that people are hungry. That's the first achievement. And to that is 30%. If there was no protest, the government will not openly say they recognize the fact that people are suffering. It has also brought the issue of some of them trying to say what they have done. They have also forced the president to also give a speech. So whether the content of the speech is satisfactory to many Nigerians or not, what is important is that the president has spoken.
All right.
Now, and I think also it serves as notice to the government that, look, it can be worse. So they have achieved much.
All right.
So if anybody says they've not achieved anything, I think we should give them kudos.
All right.
And they have been very peaceful from what we have seen, from the reports we are getting. They've been peaceful, apart from minor areas in Kaduna, Kano, but because the protest was almost throughout the federation.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to go to Mr. Akwobi, and I would like to ask this question. You've seen the demands: restore electric tariffs, disclose and reduce salaries and allowances. These are so many. There are so many, about 20 of them, right? And then my question would be, what will be the low-hanging fruits for the government? By that I mean, what are the things they can instantly start to do to show Nigerians that, hey, we have really heard you and it's time? Of course, the president has said, let's dialogue, right? But beyond the dialogue, and even that dialogue, what kind of form should it take? What are we looking at in that space when you say dialogue? And then what are the things that can be done like right now to get things fixed?
Okay, for me, I will say from my point of view, whatever they need to do, they should reduce the pump price of fuel. The president should gravitate towards that, because when you reduce that, a lot of things will reduce drastically. Then those that were appointed to secure our lives and properties, by this I mean the Inspector General of Police and other security outfits. I don't know, I presume they know what they are doing, but at the moment, we have issues with farmer men and all that. The security of this country, I can't really say I'm proud of it. A lot of people don't go to the farm anymore, and it affects output of crops and other edibles, which thereby lead to skyrocketing of price of foodstuffs at the market. Thirdly, the young people makes up 70% of the populace of this country. If you engage the young people, if you make policies that will make Nigeria habitable for them, you will reduce crime. If you really want to invest in a peaceful society, invest in young people, be deliberate about it. So the government, the president through the Minister for Youth should learn to think outside the box to make policies that will make young people not escape Nigeria. If we can do that, I think we're good.
All right. Okay. Friends, we're going to be going on a break, and when we return, we'll be asking further questions as to the path of peace, because we don't want this nation to go into implosion. So we're going to be asking more questions as to how to really meet the needs of the Nigerian people and then set this nation back on the path of peace that can lead us to progress and prosperity. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. You're still watching The Beam, coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. Mr. Elvis Akpobi and Barrister Chukwuma Ezeala are still here. They join us via Zoom. And we're trying to pave a new path to peace and progress as we x-ray the end-bank governance protest. Thank you, gentlemen, for staying with us. I'm going to come to Barrister Ezeala. Okay, let me stay again with Mr. Akpobi. We have started speaking as to the part of peace. Now, there was something I wanted us to speak to, which is the conversation, the dialogue which the president has called for. How can this dialogue happen? Who are the ones who are going to be involved? You know, where do we get this dialogue to hold? How does it happen? How do you see it play out?
For me, I think such dialogue should involve critical stakeholders, like mostly with the younger space, where like the CSOs, we have youth leaders, we have every state has a commissioner for youth, and every commissioner for youth knows what is knows who is involved in this dialogue. I've always told people, let's not forget, to the local government chairman, they are more in sync with the common man today. That's why I've always said that if we get it right at the local government level, we'll get it right as a nation, because most of the problems we are plagued with today emanated from the local government. So for me, the key stakeholders in civil society space, we have youth leaders across the nation. Commissioner for Youth should get involved. Local government chairman should also get involved. Let's have a one-on-one meeting with people who contracted governors so that vote. The president knows how to do it, but the thing is, we don't just want the usual. For me, it's not the usual, talk and lip service thing. No, let's him start doing things that will know, that will build trust of mostly the young people who came out en masse and voted for him. Let him build trust with those people, because oftentimes we've seen the brightest of hope bearers in this our country go to bed as soon as they clinch into power. Lately, there's a particular party that election, people thought they would be the Messiah. I think they are in National Assembly. They are not saying anything again about the pain of the people they said they felt before during the electionary, which made a lot of young persons gravitate towards voting them. Today, they are muted. I think they should awaken that spirit they had during campaigns.
All right. Okay. Barrister Ezeala, are you there with us? Let's take it from the point of what should be the starting point now for the government. I asked Mr. Akpobi earlier on about the low-hanging fruits. What are the things that the government can do now to start building trust? And how would you see it play down the line?
No, to start building trust, like I mentioned earlier, people have lost interest in governance. First is for government to come out and say, we are sorry for the way we have managed your resources. That's number one. Once people hear this, once citizens hear this, they are happy a bit, because they will realize that the government has missed its way all along. But giving us all these paper presentation statistics shows that things are not hard when people are seeing it. I used to have a lecturer then. He would say that the thing was so palpable that even a blind person will see it. A blind person will see that things are difficult. Every Nigerian knows that government is still roaming about as if nothing is wrong. is still in his flamboyant system of running government in Nigeria. So if, for instance, the president says, I'm going to make sure my ministers are now 36, 37, or, I've reduced the number. I've also maybe scrapped some offices that within 1 week, and give us timelines. Within 1 week, we're going to look at the Rosania report and streamline these areas of leakage. Nigerians will know we are moving. You also give us, these are things you're going to do with security, that within 1 month, you are going to see that 2 or 3 states are going to be safe for farming. Fertilizer is now coming to, when you get to the north, many of them do not see fertilizer to farm. Even when they want to farm, there is insecurity. And you set up a system that can get, and you tell them, you give us timeline. Now, this is August. You also have October. And say, if you hold me accountable to this. Now, what happens to the energy sector? It's not a question of Dangote. It's also a question of there are a lot of refineries that are about 70% completed. And government should be able to tell us, all those ones that are about 70% completed, let us buy shares, or let us give them loan on a single digit, and let's make provision to give them refined products. When they have these refined products, you see that the cost of energy will go down. And once it goes down, inflation will start a bit going down. And then the capital flight. Nigerians, we have a lot of people that are educated in Nigeria. And it beholds on all of us that are educated to educate the people. Yes, the government is now moving. But if you don't have plans for the refineries, for 2-3 years, we are told that Port Harcourt refinery cannot refinery that they are on stream. Go and check. Till date, they are not on stream. We still import. When you continue to import, it means that your foreign exchange will continue to take flight. And what is the implication? The implication is Naira continues to go down. When Naira continues to go down, what's the next implication? There will be inflation. And if there is inflation that is going into double digits, Nigerians cannot be happy until we see all this. But first, what you can do today, cut the cost of governance and let Nigerians see these are steps you have taken to cut the cost of governance. That's number one. Then you now get into what are you doing about food? In the next 1 week, in the next 2 weeks, not just rice, we're going to also see how we'll subsidize yam. We're going to see how we'll subsidize various food items. Drugs. Let's also be careful with saying we're removing complete import duty on drugs before we kill the remaining ones, the remaining industries we have. People that are producing paracetamol and drugs that are being produced in Nigeria, you don't need to remove import duties on them, but you need to support those manufacturing sector with money so that they don't go down. Many of them are going down. So support that manufacturing sector. So the areas you say you're going to allow imports to come in, be sure that you don't drive those that are operating in that segment out. Either you give them some subventions. All this issue of giving Nigerians 50,000.
All right, I think we might have lost. Let's go to Mr. Akpobi. I'm going to say you're going to take this as part of your final word. There are people who are thinking that a military regime is way better than the democracy we are in today. What would be your take on this issue, and what would be like your advice as your final word?
I wasn't privileged to be born during the military regime, but from the insight I've gotten from the stories I've been told, I would subscribe to a democratic governance. The only thing is we must be careful those who put forward to make policies, those who put forward to sit on the table where policies about our futures will be made. We should do due diligence before putting people forward, because their actions and inactions becomes our burden as citizens, and their blunders becomes the inheritance of a generation behind us. So for me, I want to say categorically that I subscribe to a democratic government, but those that have been contracted governance, those that are being privileged to enjoy democratic government, live up to expectations as leaders.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on the program today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Friends, that's our time on the beam today. Indeed, Nigerians have every right to air their grievances, and we can only hope that a peaceful resolution is reached, one which will satisfy the needs of the masses and perhaps rekindle their faith in democracy, knowing that it is easy to destroy, but difficult to rebuild that which was destroyed. Never forget, we have nowhere else to go. Keep shining your light on the truth. Keep standing for justice. Until next time, I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and this has been The Beam. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay curious, and God bless Nigeria. Bye for now. Two videos share the number 5 spot on our countdown this week. In the first clip, we see Governor Alex Oti differ with Mr. Peter Obi regarding the proposed anti-hardship protest.
When they talk about sponsors of the protest, I say the sponsors are very simple. It's hunger. It's hopelessness among the youths.
Very, very unfair to say that things are not difficult now.
In the next video, we see a member of the Tinubu media group playing down the effects of the protest as a CSO leader defends the motives behind the exercise.
You know, they are cooking up, making subterranean moves to totally hijack the protest. You know, you have people who lost elections who are trying to go for regime change, you know, through the back door.
That's the impression of the party.
In fourth place, we see a protest campaigner tackling the FCT minister over the desired use of the Eagle Square for the proposed anti-hardship protest in the nation's capital.
And, you know, wretched, then you then tell them that, oh, they need to be privileged in the society before they can express themselves, before they can express their displeasure. That is to say that the organizers of the protest are hungry Nigerians. They are the host of unemployed Nigerians. They are the host of hopeless Nigerians who are roaming.
Coming third this week is a clip in which Senator Aline Dume asserts that Mr. Daniel Bwala, a former aide of Atiku Abubakar, will only be a liability to the Tinubu-led government.
You know that Daniel Bwala, I can describe him aptly as an empty drum making noise around Abuja.
Staying with the End Bad Governance drive, our second most viewed video of this week shows Nigerian activist Deji Adeyanju asserting that the Inspector General of the police should be held responsible for the violence that has marred the protests.
I didn't know that the police can suddenly be on red alert over protests. But there's no red alert about the insecurity problems in the country. So it means it is intentional. They don't want the insecurity in the country to stop. It's some form of business.